Hello, good evening, and welcome to Off the Plasterer with me, Eric the Plasterer. Oh dear. Right, hopefully I've got my mic turned on tonight and you can hear me. I'm still back in the old Christmas market. I've got me Easy Mix merch hat on. Look at that. Hey. I ain't got the sweatshirt yet though. Or t-shirt. Mark, alright mate. Welcome to After Plasterer with me, Eric the Plasterer. Yes. And the bottom here, Easy Mix Christmas prize draw. There's only 26 days guys left till Christmas, so it's creeping up on us fast. And yeah, if you want to get a chance of winning all that Easy Mix gear that they're going to be giving away over the whole of December, every single day, and a chance to win that old fancy gaming chair, which I wouldn't mind myself, but I'm not allowed to enter for that, so fair enough. Yeah, you've got to be signed up by the 30th of November. 30th? Yeah, because the 1st of December, you can't enter the draw anymore. And it's just going to be prizes, just going to be dished out. I mean, I don't know how many people are in the prize draw, but of course, the fewer there are in it, the more chance you got of winning. And there's a hell of a lot of prizes, to say, every day right up until Christmas Eve. So if you haven't done that already, get stuck in. I will mention this again a bit later on. For anyone that's not been here before, I'm Eric the Plasterer. I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions to do with plastering. Whether you're a customer, whether you are a time-served tradesman, whether you are a newbie, a DIYer, someone that's just getting into the trade, then this is the place to come once a fortnight, and then it's followed up by a podcast of tonight's show. And I've got some other news about another music-type podcast that's going to be in the making. There's a little tester out there at the minute, but yeah, I'll tell you more about that later on. So, anyway, guys, I shall move over from here to the pub. That's better. Surely can. Lovely. Cheers, my dear. Right, yeah, there's just the old prize draw advert there again on the Easy Mix front. This is something I will chat about as the evening goes on. The old Plasterer's Music podcast show. It was going to be, well, probably still will be, a mix of different types of music. They're going to have plastering news on there. I'm trying to set up some interviews with the geezers that you want to listen to, other than me, for a change. And that will obviously be like an audio podcast, because they're much easier to do interviews for, because you can do interviews over the phone, like I take calls over the phone for tonight's show. And then that's easy to record and put onto the podcast. The podcast will be, I'll be putting out also the same type of podcast, but there'll be like a rock edition, which will be more like rock music going on to that, and just different genres of music basically. With chat in between, the news in between about plastering stuff, and yeah, interviews with the likes of old Stuart Roberts from the old Facebook group Trout Talk. And also, I've sent some stuff out to Blaine as well. But bear with, I'm having some issues apparently. Oh dear, I can't have you having buffering, guys. Right. I need to. Are you getting a lot of buffer in your end? Can you type something up and let me know? You are, then I'm going to try and rectify it, but I don't know if you're getting bad buffering or not unless you tell me. I don't normally have troubles with that, but yeah. YouTube's not liking it tonight, apparently. Got one thing here that says the stream quality is great, and another one that says the stream quality is rubbish. I don't know which is what. Currently, I'm not getting any of the old everything's good your end. Okay, mate, I'm just going to ignore it then. If there's any problem with a time lag or the video keeps kind of the live stream keeps kind of buffering and getting stuck, let me know and I'll have to do something with it. Oh, Chris says it keeps buffering. Eddie, buffering. Even there, when skimming over bonding. Hang on, mate. Do you PVA as the bonding is about a week old? Thanks. Definitely PVA over it, mate, and let it good neat coat and let it dry. Evening, Swayze. Oh yes, lots of buffering here. Alright, hang on, mate. I'm going to see if I can sort something out. Can't have buffering on my live stream, right? It just won't do. With me. Talk among yourselves. I'm just gonna bung this full screen up for a minute while I try and sort the buffering issue out.
Plasterers! What? Here's your fix. Can't go wrong with Easy Mix. Plasterers, you've got the power to hold your set back for an hour. Put more walls on in a day. Extra time the easy way. If your plaster's drying too slow, half time is the way to go. Half time, extra time, every time. Easy Mix Plastering Additives. Control your sets, make more money.
Yeah!
Ah, man, I'm having one of those evenings, right? Yeah, I fixed the buffering, but I turned my mic off while I was doing it and forgot to turn it back on because I got a brain like a bleeding sieve. The poor old people, the only trouble is when the recording of this goes out, big gaps, just me going, and nothing coming out, but never mind. Right, I can hear background noise, but not your voice. But hopefully you can hear both now. If the old background noise is too loud, I'll turn it down a bit. But be quiet back there in the boozer while we are trying to do a live stream here. Right, I'll keep talking, and you can tell me if everything's still okay or if it's all gone up the Swanee. Right, I'm Eric the Plasterer. Welcome to Ask the Plasterer. I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions. I've been a plasterer in South London for the last 37 years, and yeah, anything you want to know, I will try and answer, or the guys will try and answer. And yeah, we just come here for a chat at the pub. I'll catch up on a few things that's going on, and yeah, all good now. Lovely. Do you like this at mark there? I can't keep it on there because it's with this fire on the go, mate, as well, and the fact that the easy mix bit is see-through is yeah. But yeah, guys, you'll have to change the next batch you have done of these. You can change the colour, or just get me a special one done in a different colour, so it doesn't do the old see-through thing when I'm doing this. See that? No. Yep. Anyway, as it goes, I'm going to probably yeah, I'm going to leave this on for a little bit longer, but I am getting quite warm because I've whacked the heating up because it's so flipping cold outside tonight. But yeah, couldn't quite act that. Right, okay. Yep, anyone can ask me any questions they like. Anyone can chat about anything kind of plastering related or to do with whatever. I don't know if you heard, I mentioned it on that test podcast that I put out that's got music on it as well. That apparently by 2025 they're going to have a massive shortage of tradesmen, and especially including also, I'm pleased to say, plasterers, because there isn't enough training going on, which will be great for us because that means there'll be loads of work coming in. Plus anyone that wants to do any training now and get in there, yeah, as rather than being a career that might be going a little bit squiffy, there's going to be a lot of work out there because there just aren't enough people doing the old spreading, or a lot of the other trades as well. So great time to be getting into plastering if you have been considering it and wondering if it's kind of career that's going to last. But yeah, I can more or less guarantee you right now that it is, bar something weird happening or the end of the world happening, which I don't think is due just yet, but by the looks of things it might be heading that way. And yeah, so right, yeah, let's waffle on about this a bit. The easy mix prize draw finishes at the end of November. You've got to be on that basically, because from the 1st of December, when all the prizes start getting dished out on a daily basis, including whoever's going to win that gaming chair, brand new fancy stuff, and there's merch going, like the hat. Look, see the hat there? There's t-shirts. There's loads of easy mix being given away. And by Christmas Eve, there's going to be like 100 bags going for free. So yeah, get in there with your chance to win something. But to say the entry date finishes on the 30th of November. So what, you've got a day or two left to enter that. All you need to do is go to the easymix.co.uk site and fill in the contact form with your name and address details and your email, obviously. And all going well, fingers crossed, you'll be hearing back from Mark and his team, and you'll be winning some free goodies. And yeah, look at this chair. Look. I mean, I wouldn't mind one of them myself, but as I say, I can't. Yeah, I can't enter the competition because apart from anything else, it might look like I fixed if I won, which is no good. Right, I'm going to take this off now, guys, because I'm getting a bit fantastic for work because I was wearing it last week. But wow, that's better. Right, I'm not used to wearing that in the evening when I'm in the pub. Yeah, when I'm in the pub. Check me, I've got the old studio phone on, so if anyone wants to ring. Hang on. Good. That's all raring to go. Yeah, anyone that wants to call in as well to the studio, you can. Bear with me. You can call on this number. Oh. Yep. Oh, it is up here as well. 07516 214 983. 07516 214 983. And ask me any plastering related questions that you want an answer to. You'll probably only want to ring in if you are watching me on a TV, on YouTube at home, because I don't think, unless you're really up on your technology, you'll be able to type it. to me. And if you're watching this on your phone and you're typing in the questions, you're not going to want to hang up from this to ring me. So I completely understand that. But it makes a nice change. Right, where should we go? Right, let's answer a question. Oh, where are we? Ashley, evening, mate. Can I use a stop bead on a very slight internal curve to turn it into a crisp angle instead of a curve? That makes sense. Okay, use a stop bead on a very slight internal curve. It depends what the. Yeah, it depends. I'd need to see the internal curve, mate. You can put a stop bead on anything and make it into an angle rather than a curve. But if it's really slight, unless you really want to have a curve, if it's for you or if it's for a customer and they don't want a curve there and they're insisting on having an angle, then yeah. But without seeing quite how steep it is or seeing some kind of picture of it, it's difficult to know whether it would be a great idea or whether it would just look a bit weird. As long as you remember when you're doing a stop bead angle, if it's across the ceiling, it needs to be absolutely straight as a die and levelled out, because if it's on the wonk and you look down it, the wonk will show up really badly. And if you're doing it for a customer and they see that and it is wonky, they won't want to pay you. So, but if it's for a customer, talk them into having it curved, keeping the curve there. For you, you can have a go of it, and if it goes wrong, it don't really matter if it's in your own place. Yeah. Right. Is it okay to use any old sand in render? No. Well, when you're rendering, you really want a fine sharp sand, possibly mixed with some soft. Guys like different types of mixes. Leighton Buzzard is meant to be a really good sand. I don't like it that much because I think some of it has got a little bit too slightly bigger stones in it for me. My liking. You don't want a cool sharp sand, which is sometimes sold as plastering sand, because that's really for floor laying or for using as an aggregate in concrete, and it's got lots of little stones in it. That's an absolute nightmare if you try spreading it on a wall. Because trust me, I've tried back in the when there wasn't any a while back, because there was corona stuff that was going on, and yeah, so hey, right, so not any old sand, mate. No, fine sharp mixed with soft, or if anything, just fine sharp, but not soft, not cool sharp, fine sharp, or a fine sharp soft mix. Louise, hi Louise. Evening. Are you experiencing any problems with thin coat beads? Seems that up north they all seem to be the wrong angle. Louise, now I haven't had trouble with. I've had not trouble getting hold of them. As I moan about quite often, or recently, or my last live stream anyway. B&Q do the angle, but the thin coat stock beads, but they're like nearly £7 for one. £6.37 I think they are, which is crazy. So I've recently bought a box which I ordered on from Amazon. Again, I can't remember how many's in it, 75 or 100 or something, but much more reasonable. They kind of like work out about £2 each as opposed to £7 buying them up the road. But I haven't had a problem with them being at any kind of weird angle, or not in London anyway. I'm not saying that there might be a dodgy batch out there or up where you live, and be causing you a problem, but I haven't had any down this end, so hopefully it's just maybe just a dodgy batch that's gone out up your way, and well, yeah, they obviously need to get shot of them, because no spread is going to want to use any kind of dodgy angled beads, and often I've noticed in some places that aren't proper builders merchants, mind you, it happens to some of those as well, but places like B&Q and Wicks, the guys that put the beads into the racking, they don't seem to realise or know that if they buckle or bend them, they're absolutely useless to us, so we're not going to buy them. And they just shove them into the old the racking, and they get damaged. So it's always good to, as I have done, I'll mention it to the staff there and say, look, just so you know, if the guys that are stacking these especially stock beads, because they're much more flimsy than the thin coat ones anyway. If they're gonna shove them in there, they're gonna damage them, mate. No plasterer's gonna buy them. But other than that, Louise, hopefully, let us know if things improve. But no trouble with this end at the minute. unless there's a dodgy batch of wrong angle beads or stop beads on the way to London. But if they are, I'll soon let you know about it by having a good old moan about it. Ashley, cheers, I'll post the photo. Yeah, if you post the photo on Discord, Ashley, and I'll have a look at it on there, mate, and that'll be a lot easier. For those of you, I think I've taken the advert down because I was shoving some other stuff on here, but my Discord forum, you can get onto, in all the links of my videos, there is there's a link for the Discord server. If you click on that, it will send you an invite so you can join it, basically, the forum, and you can chat to us on there. You can put pictures up. We tend to chat generally a lot, me and the guys, and a lot of the guys that are here tonight as well, on there, and it saves having to wait either a fortnight for this to come around again, or to listen to the podcast that goes out afterwards, or putting messages on the comments in the YouTube channel, which is fine. Still do that, guys, because I'm still not big enough to not answer any of them. But if you're on the Discord server, you can ask a question more or less almost on a 24/7 basis, unless I'm in bed. And there's lots of the other guys can answer the questions as well and talk amongst themselves. It's not me having to answer them. So yeah, cool, Ashley. Yeah, sort that out, mate. Johnny, hi Eric. Have you watched the latest video from Dan Solo? I haven't, mate. No, but now you've mentioned it, I will. I don't know if it hasn't popped up on my notifications. I'll have to check that. Make sure I've rung the bell, like tick the bell, because I assume a lot of you know if you don't tick the bell on notifications, it will come up at some point, but it won't kind of like alert you that I've been posted, whether it's by me. I know I'm a bit thin on the ground. Sorry, guys. And yeah, but no, I will have a look at it, mate. Yeah, what is it about, Johnny? Give us a heads up on it. Do you recommend lime with the sharp sand? Yeah, putting a bit of lime in is always good for getting a nice texture to your gear. Some people will use lime as a plasticizer rather than put plasticizer in it. When I have got some lime, I will use, and I'm doing some rendering, I'll tend to use both. I'll stick plasticizer in there and some lime as well. As ever, though, you probably know you've got to be careful with the lime. I've heard recently about some guy that got some lime in his eyes, and yeah, that wasn't a great outcome for him, I don't think. So you have to be careful with that stuff because it is caustic and it does burn. And yeah, it's easy to be nonchalant when you're knocking stuff up like that until you get a bit of splash in your eye because you ain't got any kind of glasses or eye protection on or whatever. So always be careful when you're using them. Yeah, but if I haven't got any lime on a particular job and I don't want to go and pick up a bag, because normally it comes in quite big bags, and once you've opened it, it's a bit of a pain. You're not using the whole thing up to keep it well wrapped up and store it. So if I haven't got it, I'll just use a plasticizer, and a lot of the time I use a waterproofer that's got a plasticizer built in with that as well when I'm knocking up a render. Sal, hi Sal. Hi, what's your opinion on sponge floating on multi-finish? Yeah, Sal, I don't do sponge floating. I'm not a great fan of it. Very recently, I think Blaine Gray, if you follow him on his channel, he put up a video about basically not sponge floating as much as it used to, because I think it's kind of dawned on him that it's another process that you're doing that you don't really have to do. I mean, if some guys love sponge floating for the finish that they get at the end, I don't find it makes any difference really at the end of the day. So I haven't done sponge floating since I was at college, and I was being taught how to do it. Oh, you can do this, and I rub it up with a sponge, and I didn't like the marks and the lines it put in it. And when you're doing that, if you catch it too late when it comes to going back on with a trowel, even if you can't feel them, it's the fact you can see these swirls in the actual plaster, which I never liked that either. And as I say, it's just another thing that you're doing. How good it is or isn't for the integrity of the plaster, I have no idea at the end of the day whether it weakens it in any way. or does anything to it that's not particularly good. I know Dan that Johnny was talking about earlier. He's I'm pretty sure it's Dan that's completely anti-sponging. So Sal, a long answer to your question basically is my opinion on sponge floating, like multi-finish or any kind of finish, is just an extra thing that you're adding to your day if you're plastering for a living, as opposed to whether you're doing it just in your own house or as a DIY type thing. You want to get your job done, so you end up with a fantastic finish. And if you can get a fantastic finish without sponge floating something, then adding that sponge floating and the time it takes into your mix of doing that, it's like, in my opinion, and quite a lot of other plasterers, is what's the point of doing that if it's going to slow down your day? You're out there earning money in the field. But I don't know if you caught it earlier, Sal, but there's a lot of I don't know if you are a plasterer or if you're a newbie or a DIYer. There's going to be a lot of work coming up in the next few years because of the complete shortage of tradesmen that we've got in the UK, and they're going to be apparently panicking by 2025. They want to do so much construction, and there's just not the people out there for it, and which includes plasterers as well on a big scale. So if you're thinking about doing it as a trade and you're not already in it, crack on and have a go, mate. But so there you go. Long answer to a short question. Sorry. Right. I should just remind you, and then I'll mention about this music podcast thing. Before that, anyone that's just joined us, I'm Eric Plasterer. I've been a plasterer for 37 years in South London, and I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions once a fortnight on this live stream, and it also goes out as a podcast a couple of days later, so you can listen to it at your leisure or at work without having to have your app open, and there'll be no adverts or anything. Podcast. Talking of podcasts, the Plasterer Music Podcast is something I'm experimenting with at the minute. That I've put a little testing out there. It's not fantastic, but you guys can have a listen to it if you search on the Plastering Podcast and look for the Plastering Music Podcast. You'll be able to get a taste of my little experiment, but I'm planning on doing vastly improving it, and apart from the music, and I'm going to do different editions, like that's just got rock type music on for guys that like rock, and a pop type one for guys that like pop music. But the plastering news and the chat on there and the interviews will be the same, so whatever genre of music you like, you can pick that particular podcast to listen to at work. And because you can only get it, unfortunately, on Spotify, and you only get the full music tracks if you are a paid up member of like Spotify. It's not if you've got a free account, you just get little chunks of music, which is absolutely terrible to listen to. So I wouldn't advise bothering to try and listen to it if you haven't got a paid Spotify account. But if you have, then you get the whole shebang. And unlike the radio, which I listen to a hell of a lot when I'm at work, you'll notice on any kind of music radio, they've got a certain playlist that they can play, and then they have to start repeating the same tunes, which does get me down when I'm listening to the radio 8 hours a day. So, but I've got the choice when I'm doing a music podcast of the old 60 million different tunes from Spotify that I can put on there of any genre whatsoever, any tune that you want, because I'm taking requests as well to put on shows that go on the next podcast. And there's also a link where you can record, sort of ask for a request in your own voice, and I will get that, and then I can add that onto the podcast, so you can hear your own dulcet tones requesting the song, and then I can play those on there as well. And it'd be nice if that works out well, but I'm experimenting at the moment, so I don't really know. I have sent some stuff to Blaine and asked him if he will be interested in doing an interview for that, and I'll let you know what comes back on that. Also, Stuart Roberts from Trail Talk, I'm going to do an interview with him, and I'm hoping guys Alex, Morley and Anthony will also be up for an interview, which is I only have to do on the phone, because it's a lot easier when you're doing just an audio podcast. You interview people on the phone and record it and be able to play it out if they're happy with it, as opposed to trying to set up cameras and stuff on both ends to record a decent podcast today. So anyway, so that's all about the podcast. Down here, the Easy Mix. For those of you that don't know, if you fill out the contact form with your name and address after going to their website, you'll be automatically entered into their draw to win loads of free Easy Mix, chance to win that gaming chair, which is a lovely bit of kit, and merch on the old hat and t-shirt department. Easy Mix, but they do spell it the right way round, but of course it's back to front when you're on the telly box, or it is when you're on my telly box anyway. Right, yeah, no problem, Sal. No problem at all, mate. No problem at all. Hi, Bezzy. I am inspired by Dan Solar. I want to be like him when I grow up. Cool, mate. Yeah. I like his stuff. He does some amazing. He was on. Well, yeah, he does tune into this, and I was saying to him, I loved the video I watched of him doing, like, laying on a wall really quickly when he was doing a skim. And he lays it on. I think he said it was something to do with we had some issues with his shoulder, so rather than spreading the gear up the wall, he was starting it at the top on this video, which fascinated me. That wall's blank. He's got his first lot of gear and he's whacked it to at the ceiling level and was like putting it down the wall and putting it on at a pace, which I found fascinating. And yeah, he's a nice guy. So yeah, I'm hoping to. When I come off of here, I haven't seen his latest videos, so I'm hoping to pop on there and have a look. But I'm pretty sure it's Dan that ain't keen on sponge floating in at the end of the day. So yeah, there would be. Have you not grown up yet, Annette? What was that? How do you pronounce that? Bezzy? Yeah. It's yeah, because a lot of the guys on here, because there's different names that people have got that come up on here when they're on YouTube. And compared to when they're on my forum, and sometimes it's the same guys, and I'm not sure if I'm talking to the same guy or a different guy on here as to on my forum. But I'm getting there, guys. I'm getting there. Bear with me. If you just joined us, I'm Eric the Plasterer. This is Ask the Plasterer. I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions. I've been plastering in South London for 37 years, and yeah, there's not a lot I don't know about plastering, unless it's some of the really latest gear. I mean, I use speed skims and I obviously use like Easy Mix and gear like that, but it's not something that yeah, it's not a lot I don't know about. I've had a lot of experience, so yeah, feel free to either type a question into the old comments box there, or you can call me on 07516 214 983, 07516 214 983, and talk to me here in the pub. You can. Oh, pub, studio, you know. Nice log fire, freezing cold outside. It's lovely and warm in here. I've got me. No, it's not. I've got me Coke with my cola. Because I only really drink beer if I'm at the pub, and if I'm not on some kind of diet that I'm on at the minute. So. Yeah. What else is there? I think most of you guys have seen that advert. Not an advert. When I was on the news at fly tipping, I was asking me about fly tipping. I was having a moan that you can't take any of your gear to the waste to the tips anymore, because none of them take trade waste. And now I mean they're even like charging Joe Public £2.50 a bag of rubble per bag, and you can still only drop 5 or 6 bags off a month or something crazy like that. So yeah, that's getting a bit silly. Nothing really changes in that respect, does it? Change it. Anyway. A bit more fire. It's getting a bit cold there, so with all the pictures in the way of stopping the heat getting to me back. Yeah, right. So, yeah, we're a bit quiet tonight. I mean, we normally we kick off about 7 when things don't go completely wrong at the beginning, and go on to about 8:30. But if it's a quiet night this evening, then we'll shut down a little bit earlier than we normally do. But but for now, we shall keep on going. Yeah, well, I'm normally full of verbal barrier, but it's been the usual kind of rush today to settle down and get this lot set up and do the usual. So, but yeah. What are you working on at the minute, Eric? I'm just finishing off a few jobs before not started to settle down for the Christmas month. But I've got when my daughter's moved into, or wants to move into her new place before Christmas with her hubby and my little granddaughter, and they are in the process of having the kitchen fitted, which they organised getting the kitchens there. It's a Howden's job. Kitchens are so expensive now, and Howden's don't do as great deals as they used to do back in the day. You used to be able to get a really good markup on a Howden's kitchen, but now there's some kind of sized company, and their system is to do like most of the other guys out there that sell kitchens do, and that is, yep, you want a kitchen. I said, well, can I buy this bit and that? And they're kind of, no. We'll send a guy around and he'll measure up, and then we'll give you the prices of basically the kitchen you want. And it's all like, yeah. You used to just be able to go to somewhere like Howden's and go, right, I want that, those kitchen units, those worktops. You'd pay your price for them, and then the customer's price obviously was more on top of that. But there is absolutely no room for making any profit on top of buying a kitchen from any of these guys anymore, unless you. I've noticed from the carpenters. The average price to get a kitchen fitted by a good chippy is about $6,000, which I think I should have been a chippy and not a spread. But we got 3 separate quotes to do her kitchen. I fit kitchen before, but it's not something I enjoy doing. But yeah, they all came in at around the $6,000 mark, labour only. That doesn't include anything whatsoever, and on top of that, they expect you to get a skip as well, and that's not coming out of their $6,000. And I would imagine a good carpenter will get. We're not talking a massive kitchen here. We'll get that done in a week, 2 at the very, very, very most. But yeah. So yeah, I think I might come back as a carpenter one day. Carpenter, plumber, and an architect. Anyone that seems to be earning pots more money than spreads do. Because as one of the guys says on the Facebook, I think it's Alan Arbuthnot, I think it is, on the Trout Talk Facebook group, Stuart's group. The trade did used to be a lot more. I mean, I was taught to not just like do skimming, but to do floating, how to make fibrous cornice work and stick that kind of stuff up on the wall. Floor laying, tiling, that all came under the remit of a plasterer. I've got to admit, I wasn't that keen on some of the other things, but I didn't mind floating, setting. Doing a bit of floor laying, but I think I already told you on another podcast how one of them went wrong once, and I've never done it since. Yeah, we're getting a little bit. A lot of that, as I say, a lot of guys out there that just do skimming or stick boards up with or dry lining stuff. Stick the boards, dot and dab, and skim, and can't do anything else. So again, plasterers aren't what they used to be and what have you, but it's still a very skilled trade, and I think we need to kind of push up our prices in some instances. In my opinion, I put fairly good prices in for mine, but some of the other trades out there seem to be charging an absolute fortune for what they're doing, and I don't see why ours should be any different. At the end of the day, I mean, plastering. What does the house look like without any plastering done in it? If it's just bricks, painted bricks. And I know some trendies places that you see on these Grand Designs, they have a concrete finish or a, I don't know, some kind of rough wood finish. Or I saw one where they put the what's the name that timber you put up just for doing hoardings and stuff like that. OSB, is it? And that's leaving an OSB finish on the wall, not even painting it. And I think now. So yeah, that's what I'm doing at the minute, Mark. I've got a lot of stuff to do at my daughter's place because I'm going to be finishing some decorating, I think, as well. And my missus wants me to. There was nothing wrong with my daughter's old kitchen, so we're having that over here. And but I've got to put all that in there. She wants that done this side of Christmas. So the other jobs I have got are basically going to be after going into the new year, and I'm going to spend probably the next, well, I say month up till Christmas, working for my daughter and working in my own house. I know there's enough money in the bank to cover it, because technically it's kind of like I'm off. But yeah, so I've got some other little jobs to finish off yet, but then I've got that space up till Christmas, which will do me. Right, hi, if you've just joined us, I'm Eric the Plasterer. This is Ask the Plasterer. I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions. This live stream goes out once a fortnight on a Monday from 7 o'clock. We normally go on till about 8:30. You can put your comments up if you're watching this on YouTube on your phone. You can type up there. If you're watching me on the old telly box, then you can ring me on this number in the studio, or in the pub as I like to call it. And if I can hear you over the Irish singing and dancing going on in the other bar around the back there, then yeah, you can chat to me here and give the other guys a break from my dulcet tones. Cheers. Christmas is coming, not that long left now to be getting them presents in. We're getting something for the girlfriend or the wife. Make sure we get something half decent. I tend to be have great ideas in my head of sorting something out fairly quickly in the Christmas present department, but it's hard to know what to get anybody. Everyone else is asking you what somebody wants. I got me. I was thinking, oh, what can I get the wife this year? That'd be a good old gift for Christmas that she would like. And then I'll have my father-in-law going, oh, what does Beverly want for their Christmas present? And I said, well, if I knew that, mate, I would get it for her myself. Yeah. And yeah, I'm a very kind of late bar when it comes to the old shopping and what have you. So, yeah. Yeah, if there's any customers out there that want to ask any questions that are plastering related, then please feel free to do so. So, yeah. Go back to that. Yeah, I've got that's. Yeah, I think that's the last video I put up, isn't it? It's been yeah, the kind of stuff I've been doing, guys, is I think really fantastic to put up there in the new video department. So yeah, so all the other guys that are really good at churning it out. Oh, hold up, bear with me. Hello. Hello.
Oh, hello, Eric.
Speaking. Who's that?
Hello, I'm Tony. I phoned you about 6 weeks, Eric.
Oh, hello, Tony. Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm enjoying watching your station.
You watch me on the TV or on your phone? Or?
Yeah, on TV. There seems to be real lag.
Oh, what, still?
Yeah, there it is, yeah. I was gonna phone you last time.
Yes, mate.
But as soon as I was just about to dial, you would cut off completely.
Yeah, my computer just kind of like shut itself down, and when it does that, everything just goes off. And then when it all comes back on, you have to set it all up again to get the live stream to go out again, and then it goes out as a different live stream. It's not the same one, so it's all a bit of a pain. So if I think in future, if it does happen, I will probably just call it, which I think I did that night. I called it a night.
Yeah.
And
it was a bit late. It was I was going to give you a call, but I had quite a detailed question to ask you. You know, you had to go and have your dinner. It was like,
it's been the same tonight, mate. Yeah, I'd like to have my dinner afterwards because I've got something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it's great.
What's your question, mate? What's your question?
Well, what it is, you know, I've been watching your channel and I did speak to you before. What it is, you know, I'm sort of a DIYer. I've done a bit of plastering, so I understand all the principles. But I'm putting the ceiling up on the metal frame framework, and I'm getting close to getting plasterboard up. But my main concern is the fact that it's about 18 square metres, Eric, this ceiling.
Yeah.
Now, it's just the speed I can do it with. I'm going to use a speed skim as well.
Yeah. Sorry, mate, is this for you or is this for someone else you do?
No, this is for me. This is for myself.
For you. Right, okay, yeah. Sorry, mate,
so I really want to get my skimming skills up, which is fine. I'm going to buy a Marshalltown brow and a speed skim. And I'll do a bit of practicing before I actually go do it in anger. But the real thing is, you know, 18 square metres is a bit of a big ceiling.
That is a big ceiling, mate, yeah.
Yeah. So the real thing is, you know, the stuff going, the multi-finish going off too quick, you know, as you get there.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I mean, it's really the advice. I mean, I know you tend to just mix a whole lot up, don't you? And and then you water the, you know, you get it on and apply it, and then when it's turned enough, you just water down what you've already mixed up. Is that right?
Yeah, I do that, but you've got to be. I mean, I was taught that right at the very beginning. So it's something I've always done, and because that bit, once you put water in it and start watering it down, what you've watered down will start to dry quite quickly. You haven't got the same amount of time as you had when it was that thin originally. You know that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a real skill. I mean, it's not for someone to do lightly, but I mean, it sounds like you're watching all these other videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to do it that way.
Well, a lot of people. Sorry, mate. A lot of people used to have a bit of not a moan at me, sort of go and think, oh no, I like to put on separate. I mean, a lot of guys do put on completely separate coats. And I don't know if you watch Blaine Gray's channel, do you?
I do, yeah. Actually,
and his last video, to my knowledge, is I think he calls it nitro plastering. It's about being able to do plastering faster.
Yeah.
And basically, what he's talking about is the technique that I use, where you put, rather than putting on one coat and then cleaning up and kind of mixing up a completely fresh second coat, you water down the first coat and you use that for your second coat, which is something I've always done. And he said, if you want to plaster faster, this is the last video, but I think it's his last one to the best of my knowledge. So a few days back.
For them, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's the same thing, but you do need to have a fair bit of faster, you know, be confident enough to be able to get that on that second lot that you've watered down when it goes off. The only beneficial thing I can suggest to you from the going off aspect is using the Easy Mix gear, the retarder that you put in there, because that will give you, when it comes to the multi-finish, it will give you an extra hour of like workable time to be able to get it out of the bucket. Which still isn't enough if you're not that experienced to do an 18-metre ceiling, especially not in one hit. The only option will be to do it in sections that you're comfortable with. You just have to make sure you do a nice job of joining the next bit onto the previous bit that you've done. Yeah. So having a joint in it.
Yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, I have to accept whatever I do at the end of the day, so it's fine. So it goes reasonably well. But you know, it's just you know, you can easily get sidetracked with you're just learning stuff, and then you go down to the bucket and it's starting to go off very fast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think what I remember on the motive skim, I think for a bag you get 10 square metres. So effectively, if I was to try to do it on one it'll be 2 bags, which is probably quite a lot for amateur, isn't it?
I mean, I can put 2 bags on without a retarder in. And then that's on nice big flat walls. It's not too bad. But if you're going around any kind of corners or you're doing a ceiling, I can do it. But I wouldn't suggest that anybody that's not got quite a bit of experience as a plasterer would try knocking up a 2-bag mix, because you'll probably end up bag and a half left over going on in the bucket.
Put your trailer, it'll just be stiff, won't it? But, no, I feel that. So, I mean, is there any? That's what I was just going to say. So you can put that solution in those sachets into. You put one into a bag of mix. Do you mix it in?
Yeah, you put
in the water.
It's when it's the retarder. It's one, because it's slightly different. It's one bag. It's one sachet for one bag of like 25k bag of multi-finish. Yeah. Okay. If I mean, I don't think you want to be using the one that speeds it up. But for that, you put in 2 sachets to a bag full for it to go off faster. So basically it's per bag you put in a sachet of the retarder. That's the yellow one. Yeah, see I put on that. On that.
So in your experience, if you you probably have to warm the water up now, won't you? So make sure it can't be able to code at the moment. It's very cold, isn't it, the water?
No, as long as the cold is absolutely fine. You don't want any heat in your water, because even if it's slightly warm, that will make the plaster go off quicker.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, as long as it comes out of a tap and it's not got ice in it, or bits of ice, doesn't matter how cold it is. Very cold water is better than warm. Or
is it? Right, okay, because I mean, like today, it was very cold, isn't it? You know,
if you're getting it out of the hose and you can't get it out because it's frozen, then you're not going to be doing it anyway. But
that's right.
But as long as as long as the water's like free running, it doesn't matter how cold it is, as long as it's not got ice crystals in it or something silly like that.
Yeah, okay.
But don't warm it. I don't put any warming with it to kind of take the chill off of it or anything like that. Just really cold water is absolutely fine.
So that's fine. So even just putting a bucket and filling the bucket up the previous day and just leave it in the room just to make sure it keeps room temperature.
I mean, you can do that if you want to. There's no harm in it being room temperature. Yeah. As I say, but if the water's freezing cold, that shouldn't make any issues to your gear going off any quicker. But if you do get it warmer than it's meant to be, it will start the plaster going off quicker than it's meant to, even with a retarder in it.
So that sachet is pretty kind to amateurs, is it?
I'd recommend it for amateurs because you need your issue for most guys that are starting off is the plaster's going off too quick before I can get it on what I'm trying to do. And
especially ceilings, isn't it?
Especially ceilings. I mean, it's you. When you're doing a ceiling as someone that's not been doing it for that long, it can be difficult anyway. If you're doing a big ceiling, it's I don't want to say. It could be a nightmare.
I've done a bit of ceiling work, but nothing major. I mean, not like you know exactly what you're going to do when you start your work. Yeah. And you can measure it, can't you, as far as time, can't you? You know if it's going a bit too fast, you speed up, don't you?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I put a retarder in a lot of my plaster now because I'm lazy, really, and I'd rather if on some jobs I think, you know what, I don't want to rush about to get it done. I know I can get it 2 bags done, for example. If I'm in a lazy mood, which is most of the time I'm at work, I'll think, I'm going to chuck some, and I'm not in a hurry, I'll chuck retarder in it and I'll just have a really chilled out session, putting it on the wall. You ain't got to rush at all.
No, that's fine. I mean, I understand how you are. It's the right way. You take the sensible approach, aren't you? You're not really...
Well, I try to, mate.
It's right. I mean, you're probably there for the day. It doesn't matter that you want to rush.
No. If I try when I'm pricing jobs up, I tend to make sure I allow more time than I need for the job, and I'm charging the right money for that. So I don't want to be able to rush like a lunatic. Otherwise, I'm going to lose money because I've underpriced something. But again, that kind of thing comes with experience as well. At the end of the day.
Yeah, it does. I know, because you can't be certain sometimes what's going to go on, isn't it? How the day's going to go.
No.
But I can understand you probably don't have stacks of work to sort of like think, well, if I don't do it today, I'm really, I'm not going to be able to do tomorrow's work so much.
No, I allow extra time on my jobs to make sure that if something does go a bit wrong, I don't have to ring up all the people that are further down the diary and say, I've got to put you off a day.
Yeah.
Then you've got to ring them all and tell them all you're going to be a day behind.
Yeah.
And if you get that day behind on another job, then, so rather than have that stress, I always allow at least an extra day than I probably need to do a job.
Yeah.
So that if there is an issue, it doesn't cause me a major problem. Which is,
well, because I'm just doing it at home, I've got all the time to do it. So I can devote the time. So really,
yeah, you will have to put joints in it.
Yeah, so that's. I've been thinking about this a hell of a long time, like years, because I knew what was coming up.
Yeah.
And I did think about that, just maybe putting a piece of, I don't know, some sort of timber strip, just to partition it up, so that sort of gauge something that's say 2 or 3 mil thick, so that you don't sort of build up the edge too much. I think that's the danger, also, isn't it? When you stop, you can actually build an edge up a bit high, can't you? Or do you?
Yeah, it's. I mean, for me, if I'm doing 2 parts of a ceiling with a joint in, but normally if I have to put a joint in the ceiling, it'll only be 1 joint if it's that big for me to do. And I tend to finish one off quite smooth, almost feathered out, and then because I'm putting the next one on, although this one's hard by the time I've finished it, it's not that hard that I can't blend my next one into it quite well. But if there's going to be quite a big gap in between, blending the joint can really show up afterwards, especially when you paint the ceiling. So you are best to have an edge that's got some thickness to it, so that when you do the next lot of stuff, you've got some thickness to, so you can go flush on the joint rather than one spreading over the other. If you can get a flush joint, you have much better chance of getting a nicer finish. If you have to do this with your joints, then once you paint it, you're going to have to be up there forever with an electric sander going over the joints trying to make them not show. Which is, if you're going to spend all that time doing that, you might as well pay a plasterer to come in and do it.
Well, I would just accept that it's the way it is, isn't it? But, But the thing is, so you really won't put any sort of something, trimming or anything there.
Well, you could work to some kind of trim. Otherwise, you're not going to get an even thickness of joint. Some guys will put a plasterboard stop bead up. They will work to that bead, but then they will remove the bead. Afterwards, they don't leave it up there permanently in the ceiling, or obviously it will show. Or you could go crazy and make a feature out of putting up plasterboard stop beads and having like these kind of feature cracks in your ceiling. But you have to make them into a pretty shape, but to make an obvious feature rather than just you've got these straight lines in your ceiling.
I mean, a bit like those antique furniture, but put a distress.
Something like that. You got to make it look like it's a pattern that's meant to be there. You can do, but
that's fine.
Good luck with it, mate. Let us know how you get on with it.
That's fine. Just to say, the stop bead, is that the plasterboard stop bead? What sort of thickness does that finish off at? About 3 mil or something?
It's about 5 mil, I suppose, something like that.
Oh, is that, okay. And is that alright just to work up to there then?
Because that's what if I wasn't going around the corner with an actual angle bead that goes right around the corner, the stop bead is so you can finish on the straight. So it gives you the lip of the bead, a thin coat bead, is enough for your finish thickness. Of course, if you can use one of those to judge the thickness at the end of your bit of ceiling, and then you can move the thing away, then when you do your next bit of skimming, go up to that edge, and that edge to be equal and even. It won't be going thinner and fatter. It goes along.
That's the danger, isn't it? You just overwork it. But I won't keep you any longer. But when you do feather edging, then when you feather in, is that really down to the quality how worked in your trowel is? Is that how you get that sort of?
Feathering in when you're finishing, or for me personally, when I'm finishing, if I have to feather something, if someone insists they want something patched up as opposed to going over the whole section of a wall. If I'm doing a big patch on a wall for someone, I'll say, look, it's pointless to me just skimming the patch. I might as well go from this corner of the wall to this corner, and you've got a brand new square, completely finished wall, rather than doing a patch, because it takes the same amount of time for the plaster to go off, whether you're doing a great big patch on a wall, whether you go from one end of the wall to the other, unless it's a crazy big wall, obviously. But and I use my flexible trowel, which is the very thin ones. You probably heard all about flexi trowels.
Yeah, I've heard about them. Yeah, I mean they sort of helpful, aren't they? If you haven't got a trowel that's really worn in.
Yeah, they'll get. They're nice for feathering off something like that if you have to, and they're good for finishing work off. But never lay on any plaster with a flexible trowel.
No,
you need to have something rigid, a Marshalltown trowel, something like that.
Yeah, they're really for the later stages, aren't they?
Yeah. Okay. Near the end. So So you in my opinion, I think you should definitely split it up into sections, and the best way you can. Let me know how you get on.
No, I will do, but that is a sensible approach, isn't it? It's not something that's just going to create a nightmare. Yeah. No, that's fine, Alex.
Yes,
that's fine. And just one last very quick. Do you ever cover, to stop the plaster drying out in the bucket, do you ever cover it to stop the moisture?
No, that won't make any difference whatsoever, mate, at all.
Okay. All right.
All right.
No. All right. Thanks, I really appreciate it.
All right, mate. Cheers for ringing in. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye. Bye. Okay, where were we? I get the missus a new trowel mark for Christmas. Yeah, I don't actually appreciate it, mate. It's worth a go. It's worth a go. Right. Dave Thomas. You're talking to Johnny. I do PVA my bonding walls, bud, except for same day. Yeah, if you're skimming over a wall that you bonded the same day, you don't need to put anything over it. If it's a day old or or older, then definitely nice coat of PVA, let it go off, and then hit it, and it's absolutely fine. Right, if you're still there, Zolta, evening, mate. Down the trowels, boys. That's me done for the year. Well, I sort of mean you both, Zolta. I was saying earlier to Mark and the rest of the guys, I'm kind of like drawing my last couple of little jobs to a close, and but I'm working at my daughter's house and my place probably till Christmas Eve, and then hopefully I'm just going to completely chill out until the new year, and for any jobs I've got booked in for then, which suits me fine. If any of you have just joined us, I'm Eric the Plasterer. I've been the plasterer in South East London for the last 37 years, and I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions, along with the other regular guys and some of the new guys that have come along this evening. This live stream goes out every other Monday at 7, goes on to about 8:30. Well, actually, I better keep a check on the time. It's 3 minutes past 8. Go on to about 8:30, and whether you're a newbie, time served spread, a customer, DIYer, anything you want to know, as you could tell, you can ring in the studio and you can chat to me here live, the pub, sorry, not the studio, and or you can type if you're watching me on the TV, or you can type a question on your phone, and I'll try my best to answer it. Cheers. Is anybody else on here tonight? Are you working all right up to literally up to Christmas, or are you taking a bit of time off before, or taking some time out to do anything at home, or is that just me? I'm assuming Saltar's just down in his tools now, and that's it. He's just going to put his feet up. Is that right, Saltar? until then. Gary, hi mate. Quick question. What is the main cause of trowel marks? The main cause of trowel marks that I ever get is if there's some dinks on my trowel, or if I've damaged the edge of it. I say damaged, you only need the slightest issue along the blade of a trowel. That's why you need to really look after your trowels. When it gets to your harder troweling up, but once you start putting water on your on your set, and you start hitting it, and then when it's starting to dry and you do a dry trowel, because if your trowel edge isn't absolutely beautiful, it will cause marks on the wall. Yeah, you shouldn't be getting any other marks apart from that you might get earlier on from the top and bottom corner of your trowel. But that's the whole idea of wearing in the trowel, or better still buying a pre-worn trowel, is that the corners are kind of like already pre-worn basically, and you've got a nice edge already on the blade. Back in the day when you just buy a carbon Marshalltown, the end of the blade was quite not thick, but it wasn't something you'd cut yourself on. You could rub it on your cheek and it wouldn't cut you until you'd worn it in on usually on sand and cement or whatever. But yeah, you need a worn-in trowel, and you need to make sure that that edge of your trowel is not damaged, and never use your trowel for scraping the floor, scraping paper off, or doing anything else other than skimming. And if you've got blade protectors for it, stick them back on, or you shove your trowel possibly into your other tools where the edge could get damaged. That's that's the main reason that I would ever have for having any kind of marks on the wall, is that if there's any kind of slight imperfections along the edge of the blade of your trowel. Right, I'm off too. Zoltar, are you off as in off completely off, not doing anything from now on, or are you off on holiday? Mexico on Wednesday for 2 months? Oh, mate. Mexico. 2 months. Warm that your bones will be breaking up by 2 months' time. Yeah, you ain't got any room in your suitcase to stick an old plaster, have you? Oh dear. Well, enjoy it, mate. Blimey. I hope there's no issues getting across to Mexico, is there? Well, if you're going there for 2 months, you'll have plenty of time. If you've got to isolate over there, you'll have plenty of time to do it. Hopefully they'll let you back in here when you come home. Dear, I don't think this new variant thing is going to be anything much to be concerned about from what I've heard so far, but I suppose they've got to take precautions. I don't mind wearing a mask at the end of the day. I mean, it's not a big deal. If at the end of the day it turns out wearing a mask is a complete waste of time, so what? It's no skin off my nose. Dear. And I've had all my jabs, and I've had a booster as well. And I'm pleased to say I didn't get any kind of effects from any of them. Not even an achy arm. I think I had the booster about 4 days ago. 2 or 3 days ago, and there's a vague bit of muscle ache about that much of my arm there. That's not a big deal, but yeah. And if a vaccine's got to kill me off because there's something dodgy about it, then I'd rather die of all the other millions of people than be stuck here with the few miserable gits that might be left. Dear, that's only my opinion. Right. Right, so we enjoy that, Zoltar. Send us a post. Oh, don't forget, Zoltar, you could probably tune in for Mexico, mate. That would be quite nice, actually. You could tell us what's what and how you're getting on. If you send us a picture on the Discord of your suntan. Dave, how you take your drinks? How you take your drink out? Sorry, Dave. How do you take your drinks out? How you take your drinks out? You're talking to me, David, and you how you take your drinks out? Yeah, I don't quite understand the question. Sorry, mate. Right. Hang on, bear with. I'm losing. I can't read you on here quick enough before you disappear off the top. So I have to look at this screen where I can see where I've lost you. Right, Zoltar's off to Mexico. Dave's asking me about something to do with drinks out. Johnny, hi Eric, I'm packing on the 17th of December. Fair dues, mate. Can't wait for Christmas. Now, me neither, mate. I do like the old Christmas. My daughters love it as well. I'm like raring to get the old Christmas decks up already. But it's not too soon, in my opinion. I have to have a little bit of an argument with my wife because she's kind of, we're in December. Yeah, what are you doing? But other than that, she's nice one. Mark 17th for me, Eric. Then off to Edinburgh for New Year. New Year in Edinburgh, mate. They'll hold my knee and all that. It's been brilliant. I think I mentioned it before to you. It's loved it. I went there once. See the New Year in. Absolutely enjoyed the whole. Stayed there for a week, I think it was. It seems to go on for about a week. New Year in Edinburgh. But yeah, have a lovely time, mate. Hopefully it's a bit more like normal this year. Let us know how that all goes. Enjoy that, mate. Gary, thanks for that. I'm not a plasterer by any means. Done a couple of rooms and not too bad a finish. Just think I'm trying to trowel up when it's still a bit wet on one or two lines or dried out. Yeah, that's probably, Gary, something to do with the old the trowel, yeah. Trowel marks, you can get different types of kind of trowel marks, but there shouldn't be something that show. I mean, you can get something that looks like a trowel mark, but then once it's actually painted, there's nothing there. If you can't feel a trowel mark, then you shouldn't be able to see it. Hopefully. But yeah, no worries, Gary, no worries. Johnny, my van. Mate, there's a van busted into. Last week working on a job in Chislehurst. I haven't been there for years. Not that far, but they totally wiped me out on my tools. Johnny, mate, that's a bummer. Trowels, new DeWalt mix. Nah, not a DeWalt mixer as well, mate. You know. Johnny, that is absolute gutting, mate. I've had my tools nicked before, and yeah, it's not happy. And I don't think I had a tool cover. I'm insured for if I do any damage in someone's house. I don't think I had any tool cover on any tools at the time, and I just had to go out and basically buy them all again. I got myself another whisk, got myself a whole trowel, some basic things that I thought, well, I need those. And then it's only when you're on a job and you think, oh, I need a, and you think, oh God, I haven't got one, have I? It got nicked, and there's things that you use that you forget you've got. You don't use them all the time on a job, and it's only when you go to reach for them after you've had your tools nicked and you've had to replace them that you realise that it's missing. Oh, you haven't got one, and you have to go and buy one of them as well. And it's, yeah, it's the lone life. They don't give a damn about how work ends up. You can't do anything, and yeah, I had a bag of tools once as well, nicked from the top of a hotel I was working in, as in like the whole hotel was being refurbished. I was working for a company then, and I put them in the lift shaft at the very top of the hotel, and I thought they'd be safe in there, and the next day they were gone. So I would imagine some inside geezers had them away. But yeah, it's not nice, mate. It's not nice at all. But yeah, keep the vans locked. You've got to have some decent locking systems on them as well. I know that some guys cut through your roof. Don't quite know how they do that without people hearing them, but yeah, it's not good. It's not good. If you just joined us, I'm Eric the Plasterer. This is Ask the Plasterer. You can ask me any plastering related questions for another 15 minutes yet before we call it a night, because we go on from 7 o'clock till 8:30 every other Monday, or you can join the Discord forum. There's links to on all my videos, and you can join us there, and you can ask questions any day of the week you like. Dave, sorry, how do you get a kink or nick out of a trowel that causes lines? If the dink is fairly, if it's not a crack, if you haven't dropped it and it's got almost a groove in it, let's just have to buy another trowel. Because you could try to grind something like that down, but you'd probably end up just making the trowel worse. And it wouldn't be worth trying to do it. If it's a small dink in it, then I tend to, if you can do some rendering with it, that will help. And obviously a little dink doesn't really affect rendering when you're doing render. The only other option is to keep running the thing up and down some sandpaper. You could also use, again, it depends on the size of the dink. If it's fine enough, a bit like when you sharpen the knife. I don't know if you've ever done this where you sharpen the knife, like a cooking type knife, on the back of another knife. You rubbing the blade Yeah, I mean, you don't do it like that for a trowel, but you basically, if you've got a kind of a blade that you can run up and down the bottom edge, I mean, you got the trowel like this, you're looking at the bottom of it, and you would run the other blade not too far around the corner of it. It's got to be nice and flat along that edge, and if you can probably feel a slight dink when you're doing it, and if you can do that until you can't feel the dink anymore, then that's the only way I know you can get it out, or sanding it. Yeah, you just got to be really careful not to dink your trowel, but that's easier said than done. That's why spreads don't like screws, they're having to go around screws, which is why those dot things you can put on where people take their screw, we can take the people's screws out for rad brackets and that. Stick one of those little ink dots on there and it bleeds through the plaster. Lovely, you ain't got none of this. Whacking the screw with your edge of your trowel is yeah, nightmare. But yeah, that's the best bet, mate. That's the best bet. Never you mind. Yeah. Eric, what's the quickest way to get a trowel wall in without sanding cement? Yeah, buy a pre-worn trowel, mate. I would recommend. They're not particularly much more expensive than buying one that isn't. Yeah, pre-worn trowel. If it's the stainless steel trowels take a lot longer to wear in than carbon trowels, because carbon trowels rust. Back in the day, I'd let mine would get a bit rusty anyway. And as you kind of like sand the edge off, the rust off the edge, or off the bottom of the trowel, that would be like helping to hone the blade at the same time. Stainless steel, as I say, is harder and takes a bit longer to wear down. Again, and because it doesn't rust either. Yeah, I would recommend buying a pre-worn trowel rather than having to worry about it in the day. Evening, Lindsay. You tried the sofa out, yeah, babe? Right, Zoltar. Diamond files. Diamond? Yeah, I haven't got a diamond file, don't know what that's like. I've had a diamond file that I used on for sharpening chisels and stuff. Don't know if I'd want to run that down the trowel blade or not. But yeah, probably no reason why you can't. Thanks, Eric. Sorry for the no problem, mate. Right, Lindsay. Do most customers give you tips on top of the quoted price? A lot of customers give me tips. Generally, they tend to be the customers that are, in what I see, less well off, and yeah, and quite down to earth. So the customers that appear to be much better off and not quite so down to earth, never leave you a tip. I've never left me a tip. Yeah, I've had checks and or cash always paid to the absolute exact amount. Other places I've worked where the customers are more down to earth and don't appear to be particularly any better off than I might be. Give you bottles of wine, crate of beer, 20 quid, 30 quid cash tip on top of whatever you've charged them for the job, because they're so happy with it, and that's lovely. But yeah, so it does happen. Yeah, not a lot more I can say on that about getting in trouble, probably. Oh dear. Oh, evening, Gandalf. Oh dear. James. Eric, hope you're well. Yeah, I'm good, thanks, James. Cheers, mate. Gandalf, good evening, everyone. Diamond fireworks. Yeah, no, fair enough. They do leave deep scratches. Yeah, okay, yeah. If you're going to use some kind of diamond file on your trowel, just be careful. Anything you're trying to take it to an edge of the trowel to take it, if it's got a slight dink in it, generally I'll find a bit of sandpaper, put it on the bench and run the trowel. at the desired angle along it. Hopefully you'll get a dink out. If it doesn't, if it's too deep, your best bet is just get another trowel. No, they're not cheap, and I would get a pre-warm trowel. I think the last Marshalltown, the one I'm using currently, that was pre-warm. Well, yeah, if I can get that and I haven't got to worry about it. I mean, you still then wear it in a lot nicer, and the blade gets sharper. Than it's not really sharp and perfect pre-warm, but it's taken to that degree that you need to get a nice finish, especially if you're not into flexi trowels at the end and you're using it to finish off your last bit of troweling on your job. Whetstone takes dinks out. Yeah, whetstone. I think those diamond ones that they use instead of whetstones on chisels and stuff. But I don't know if I'd use a diamond one on the trowel. But yeah, whetstone, no problem. And off, they most certainly do. I have a set of Japanese stones and they're fantastic. Yeah, I've seen there's a lot of Japanese stuff when it comes to sharpening stones or knives. Japanese gears, yeah, not cheap Japanese. Oh, no, that's Chinese, isn't it? China, made in China. Yeah, Japanese knives, Japanese anything to do with sharpening and knives. Japanese have got that one cracked for sure. But stuff from them normally costs an arm and a leg. But sometimes it's a good investment depending on what it is you buy. How would you clean your trowel? My trowel, I mean, it doesn't matter how much you try and keep them clean. They do, as you probably notice, you do build up a film from whatever it is that's in the plaster on the top, well, and underneath trowel. I tend to. Some guys put their trowels in soak over a weekend, clean them off. But if I did that, I would forget them on Monday. I'd forget that they're still in the garage or wherever. And I'd end up getting to a job and having to drive all the way home again to get my trowels that are still in the tub in the garage. I tend to let it build up to a certain degree, and then I use a blade scraper, like the scrapers you put a Stanley blade in to clean paint off of glass, stuff like that. And I will use that because that takes it off lovely. You've got to be careful that if you're on the top end of the trowel, the handle's up here, going along the top, behind the edge, because you can cause yourself an issue if you catch a really sharp Stanley blade in the edge of your blade. Basically put a dink in it, which you don't want to do. But be careful when you're doing the top. But underneath, the build up you get underneath the trowel, I use one of those blade scrapers, and then I'll finish it off with some sandpaper. They're more nice and lovely and shiny, and because I tend to do that when I'm still at work, then it stays in the motor or with my other tools, and I don't turn up at work on a Monday and I've forgotten my trowels in the soaked tub at home. So that's my method for cleaning them. Probably not the best method in the world, but yeah, it doesn't matter how often you kind of wash them off. You can't stop that build up happening unless you spend an eternity messing about with your trowel after work every day, which I ain't got time for. My life's too short. Oh dear. How are we doing? Oh, it's nearly finishing up time, 8:23. James, I've been using the polythene you recommended and it's been working great. Leaves less mess. Haven't even used my Henry as of late. Top man, James. See, just ask the man. I'll tell you what you need, mate. Do that. Do the neat PVA in. Let your PVA dry. Get a decent roll of that plastic. Roll it right out. Tape up right around the edges, and when you pick it up, you basically only got nothing left to do. And the job I did for some guy recently where I put plastic down, and he was kind of like, oh, I had a guy, and another tradesman, another Sparky. He said, oh, I had a plasterer in, and the Sparky had put plastic down for him, and he said to him, oh, I'm going to be slipping over on that, mate. So the plasterer took the plastic up, because it was a wooden floor. I don't think it was a fancy wooden floor, which was floorboards, but that's not the point. And he said when he'd left and I went in there, he said there was just lumps that I had to spend like an evening scraping them all off the blooming floorboard. And I said, well, I don't, yeah, it can be slippery if you're on stilts and you get too much water on the floor. It's going to be slippery, but not as slippery as not slippery, but not as dangerous as putting a dust sheet down that your rubber feet or your stilts could catch. But Yeah, it's great. I've used the polythene for donkey's years now, and even it's worth spending, if you have to, it's worth spending an hour. I've done an hour plus putting down polythene on jobs, because at the end of the job it's so quick to just pull it all up and you're more or less ready to go once you've got to that stage of picking that up. Nothing worse than having to try and, if you are going to clean someone's floor, which you should if you make a mess on it, if it's a hard floor, like a floorboard floor, you don't want to be scraping that and having to wash it and all that kind of malarkey to try and get any bits off. When you can just spend a bit of time putting the plastic down, and you spend less time putting the plastic down than you will trying to clean the floor afterwards. And if you're the kind of guys that make a mess on the floor and you don't clean it up, that customer is not going to come back to you for referrals on jobs. Simple as that. Yeah, enough said. So yeah, good on you, James. But man, yeah, can't go wrong. Tried and tested technique. 37 years I've been at it. Oh dear. Yeah, and Andrew Henry will last a lot longer, mate, as well, obviously. What's your opinion on horsehair brushes? They're smelly. But other than that, yeah, they're okay. They're smelly, and the hairs come out, but that you know, a lot of brittle brushes, real brushes, that happens. For painting, then you probably might be better off with some decent brushes, but the synthetic ones they make today, they're pretty pucker. So horsehair brushes, yeah, I'd use them for cleaning out my buckets and stuff. I don't know if they're so good for holding holding water if you're using your brush for, like, as a wet brush or wetting down. But yeah, I'm happy with the old synthetic brushes, as long as they're nice and fine and they're pretty pucker, and most of them are lossless, so you don't get the hairs. You still occasionally get hair coming out in one of those. Well, it's not hair, is it? It's a fibre. But yeah, when I've used any real brushes as wet brushes, and you find them, I use our wet brush in the corner, use me trying, and suddenly there's 2 or 3 black hairs stuck in the plaster. You got to kind of like dig out. It's yeah. So that's my opinion, Dave, on the old horsehair brushes, mate. Mark, when can we expect the plaster spot video, Eric? Yeah, I need to do, actually, if I can fit this in while I'm off, mate, I might do something like that, just up the garage. Someone, again, was asking the other day the best way to put their stilts on, and I said I'd knock up a little video of that. The method I use, like, I stick a pair of steps up against the wall, but that's easier to kind of just say, oh, that's all I do, and that's how it works. But doing it, so it looks... So you should go, oh, that's how he does it, and it could be a nice short video. Might even just make it up as a short. Yeah, but plaster spot video, yeah, it's coming, Mark. I will do it, mate. I will do it. This side of Christmas. Yeah, I've got to put some more videos up. It's still quite a bit of time before Christmas comes, isn't it? 26 days or whatever it is. Gary, good job. I've always got new carpet. I've got new carpet coming. I've reskimmed 4 of them, including the carpet. Yeah. No, I go on jobs where they've got either a really nice carpet, or any carpet. You don't want to be getting gear on. And if they had a new carpet put down, you kind of go, well, why didn't you get this plastered, your ceiling plastered before you had your new carpet? But yeah, you cover it wall to wall with the plastic I use anyway. It's a decent thickness. It's not crazy thick, but it's not like this rubbishy things you buy in sheets and packets. They're no good at all. Stuff on a roll, wall to wall, so there's no joints in it. If there is a joint, make sure it's a good one. If it's a really big room, and tape them up, and it's just worthwhile. If the customer says, "Look, I'm going to chuck this carpet out the minute you're finished," then don't bother. But if they're not, even if they're going to get rid of it, but not yet, cover it in plastic. Can't go wrong. Right, guys, we are at 8:29, and I've never finished kind of dead on time before. But yeah, I'm going to call it a night. Adios, amigos. Yeah, have a lovely time in Mexico, Zoltar. You lucky geezer. And yeah, you know, like I said, you can tune in. Don't forget, from Mexico. I'm pretty sure they've got internet there, mate. I know you might want to completely forget about anything to do with plastering, but after a month or so, mate, you're going to get bored, surely. So come and have a chat with your mates. at that pub here in lovely cold England. And put some pictures up of the sunshine on the old server, Discord server, mate. Right, cheers, Mark, Zoltar, Lindsay, James, Gandalf, Mark, Dave, anyone else that's still here and listening. I've been Eric the Plasterer, Ask the Plasterer, and this will come out as a podcast with a lot of funny little gaps in it because of the issues I was having of turning my mic on and off and a bit of buffering. Apparently that was earlier on, hopefully just earlier on. And I'll see you all in a fortnight's time. How close is it to Christmas? I'll definitely keep you posted. But for now, let's say, I'll see you in 2 weeks on a Monday, unless that's Christmas Day. Then I won't. But cheers, Mark. And don't forget to, if you haven't done that already, to get in there before the end of November, so you're in a chance for winning something on that. And I will look forward to seeing you all soon, or seeing you on the old Discord site and having a chat there. If I don't see you for whatever reason before then, have a lovely Christmas. But hopefully I will. Right, guys, this is me signing off when I, as usual, can find the old button. I've got that there. Right, I think this is it. If it is, I shall see you soon. Take care. Thanks for coming along, guys. See you later. Bye for now.